What's up, creators? Peace and love. My name is Jade, and welcome to my channel. Okay, first things first, right? When I was 18 years old, I was diagnosed with Stargardts disease, and through the years, I was fortunate enough to meet two beautiful souls that also had Stargardts disease, and they agreed to come and talk to us. Before we get started, if you are new to the channel, press the subscribe button below. I am on a journey to helping 500,000 people create a life that they love. And if that is something that you're interested in, you know what to do. Every day in every way, I am creating a life that I love. I'm just like so excited. Thank you guys for talking to me today. And well, first, so you're in Georgia, right?
Yes.
And then we're in Jersey. I met Tiffany on Instagram. It was so funny. I looked at the Stargardts hashtag and I was like, oh my gosh, who is this girl? Oh my gosh. I was like, I have to DM her. I think I like commented on one of her posts and then I DM'd her and then we were just talking. And it was just like,
Yeah.
freaking like, it's so great to have somebody that you can like talk to about this. Yeah. And then Britt was like a savior sent. So my parents went to I don't know where you guys met, at some type of conference, I think. And
Yeah, my brother and I were speaking at an event. Where were we? Somewhere in New Brunswick, I believe.
mhm.
But for persons that are vision impaired, and we just kind of spoke about our life. They had a little segment about us, and so we spoke about our eye condition.
And my parents found her and they were like, my daughter has the same thing. And my dad came home. He's like, you have to text this girl. You guys have to talk. You have to talk to her. And so I met up. We went out to dinner. This is like pre-COVID. And it was fun. And I think it was like every year we would meet up and go to dinner. And it was like really, really nice. So
Yes.
I appreciate meeting both of you guys. Oh, okay. We have Stargardts disease. And that is and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm saying anything, or if you know more than I do, because I am still borderline, not denial, but like I don't want to, what's the word? I don't want to just like acknowledge its presence. And I think it's fortunate for us because it's something where you can't just look at us and be like, oh, it's that one. She can't see. Like it takes, I mean, people who know you, they'll be looking at you like, okay, wait, why do you need to? You can't see that? That's the question I hate. Oh my gosh, I hate when people ask me like, you can't see that? And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, you need glasses. Are you blind? And I'll just be like,
It's
but
crazy that people say that though, because a lot of times, so I have tons of friends that wear eyeglasses, and they're like, oh my God, if I don't have my glasses on or my contacts in when I wake up in the morning, I'm blind. And I'm like, okay. And the fact that I can move through daily life normally, most things I can see, and then, I may have a strain in some areas. I'm like, I'm blessed because this person really can't see without anything. And I do wear glasses, but I'm like, how do you ask somebody if they can see it? Only because you have your glasses on at that moment or their contacts on. They're like perfectly 20/20, but I know that's not like an option for us. So obviously we need a little extra help. But I'm like, yeah, help me out. You got your glasses on. Let me see. What's up?
right,
Did you
right.
see? Instead of asking the question, because clearly we're struggling. If you see somebody with the paper clothes or something close to them, it's like, why are you asking me? Help me out.
No, yeah, completely. So, yeah, so it's a disease of the eyes. It affects your central vision. And basically, it just makes life difficult. Like you have your peripheral, and things will be clear from your peripheral, but then when you look at it, it either disappears or gets distorted. And for me, like when I look at people's faces, sometimes the details of their face like blur into the color of their face. And so there's a picture, if I find it, I'm gonna like put it in here somewhere, but there's a picture of like a painting where the face was blurred out. I think I sent it to Tiff and I was like, this is literally like
Yeah.
how I see, like.
Yeah.
And it makes things difficult. It makes reading difficult for me. And I love to read. So like reading books is either going to be frustrating or it's just going to take like precision and like just really paying attention. But what about you guys? So what did I miss? Like what information do we have on Stargardt?
Well, for me, like you said, it affects your central vision. So it blurs and goes away when you try to focus on things specifically. We start to depend on our peripheral to see regularly. I say I see differently. I miss details of faces. Like I can't see either of you right now. So I don't know what you look like.
I get to like
I can't recognize my own
kids or family, I can recognize walks. Like I'll know my husband from across the room because the way he walks. Reading is super difficult, and then when you try to read, it sounds like you can't read, and it's like, I'm not dumb, I'm just, visually impaired. And I used to read novels all the time, like all the time. Now I don't read anymore. It hurts my eyes. Light sensitivity sometimes. If I have a headache, it makes my vision worse. If I have anxiety or stressed out, it makes my vision worse. And I guess I might be getting a little clumsy, but I was diagnosed 11 years ago, so I guess the progression is getting to that point now.
How old are you now?
34.
I am 25. I got diagnosed at 18. Yeah, so it's been a couple years now. I still drive. Like right now, I can see, like if I look at you guys, I see your eyes, and then probably like a little bit details of your nose, and then your head's just blurred out, and then I see like your bodies.
Yeah, you can see more than that. I think I'll be able to see you guys if I get. Nope, I still can't see.
Oh no.
I know. So when I'm on like FaceTime, I'll have my
like this, like, yeah,
and they're like looking at my nose, and I'm like, I'm trying to see you.
Definitely get that. Brittney, how do you see? Like, what can you see?
So right now for you ladies, I can see your lovely hair, definitely shape of the face, but the details on your face are distorted. I have on my iPad, I have a Zoom like application. Everybody has one on their iPad, on their tablets. So if I just tap 3 times, it'll zoom into whatever section I would like, and I could just kind of scroll around the screen. So I kind of was like, oh, let's see the ladies, let's see how they're looking without me having to put my face so close. So that's definitely something to take advantage of. And I know if you're on your desktop, there's a magnifier and it does the same thing, and you can just it's accessible to you, and you can kind of just scroll across the screen and just see whatever details you're missing. But yeah, definitely cannot see your faces until I zoomed in a little bit. Well, reading, same thing, reading, light sensitivity. I hate driving at night and then getting to like construction, and I'm like, or police lights, like, oh my goodness, can you guys turn those down?
Like you can't tell what side of the road is on. And this is just speaking from the past experience, because y'all two still drive. I haven't driven in over a year.
And I'm really like cautious about that as well. I'm not so like gung ho like I used to be when I was a kid or in college or whatever, because I'm like, I need to slow down, I need to really pay attention to the details. But thankfully, I mean, if somebody's giving me directions, I'm like, give me, I don't know, the gas station on the corner. Like, don't tell me to make a right on Crenshaw. I cannot see that sign. So, I'm just like, I'm happy because iPhones kind of change their directionals as well. They're like, oh, at the light or at the next intersection, make right or left. That's definitely helped me a lot, especially if it's an unfamiliar area. And like I said, I do real estate, so I'm constantly on the road. Thankfully, with COVID and before COVID, people have really stopped like putting their clients in the car. So sometimes I'll be like, you guys can go ahead of me, or you guys can follow me. I'm gonna drive a little bit slow. Like, they don't know why, but we drive slower anyway as agents, just so that they can keep up. You don't know how the next person drives versus you. So we just keep like a generic pace per se. But I also keep my pace so that I'm cautious of like the light turning. Like green is perfectly fine, but sometimes in between that yellow and red, I'm like squinting to see color differentiation sometimes. Family, like my brother is like you, Tiffany, like when he sees people walking up, he saw someone in the mall. I'm like, how'd you know that was so and so? He's like, oh, look how he's walking. And I'm like, you're amazing, because he has Stargardt as well. But he's more progressed than I am. But like he's like broken out of that like barrier of like, I need to see someone's face to know who they are. He's like, I gotta like look at their demeanor or this or that. He's like, body language is everything. So he's definitely taught me a few things because he was diagnosed before me. So I kind of picked up on some things that he did. And then once I was diagnosed, I'm like, I had this too. Like it came very, very, I think late for me, 5 or 6 years later, when it hit me. So I was just like, oh, okay, D, tell me.
How long have you been diagnosed?
I believe I was 17, so just about 12 years now.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, my diagnosed story was like, oh my gosh, I don't like that doctor like to this day. So I went to the eye doctor, and my regular eye doctor, and it was the summer before I was going into college, and my eye doctor was like, give me the exam, and he was like, something's a little off. I'm gonna recommend you to go to a retina specialist. And so I go to this doctor, and he literally like, it was like I was irritated because they dilated my eyes, and you guys both have had that, like when they dilate your eye and they put that that like, I don't know what that machine is. I guess to check your eye pressure, but then you can't see anything. Like with glasses or without, your vision is like distorted. So he was like, okay, so after I got my eyes dilated, I went into the office and he started flicking through the pictures and he was like, yeah, you have Stargardts disease. And I just was like just the way he said it, and just, I don't know, I was very irritated. And then everything just like was going through my head. That whole summer, I was like depressed because it was a whole bunch of stuff going on. And then on top of that, I just felt like my grandmother, she has macular degeneration, but we think it's Stargardts because, I mean, it's in the same ballpark. She got diagnosed when she was 30 and she's like 80 something now. So this is like over 50 years ago. So, you know, with the advancements in technology, you know, things, you know, get more specific. But I just was thinking about her and I was like, oh my gosh, like she has her family around here to help her. Like if I go blind, like what's going to happen? Like, how am I going to be able to just do regular stuff? And that was all that I was focused on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to drive. I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't do that. So that's really what kind of fueled me to just make sure that I was happy with where I was and like what was going on, how I make money. Like that's when I started my own business, or I started the journey to creating my own income. Cause I was just like, I hate my job. And if I'm going to be blind and I have like, I don't know. I haven't gotten my eyes checked in a while. So I don't know if I'm legally blind, but yeah, I was like, if I'm going to be blind, like I need to get this done. Like I need to get my life together. Like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I got 10 years left. Okay, what can I do in 10 years? And that's when it just like, it was, I don't like that time was just not fun for me at all. But I'm grateful now because I wouldn't be where I am had this not happened to me. So what were you guys like, what happened when you found out that you got diagnosed? Like when you got your diagnosis, I should say.
Well, I was 17, so I'm in high school. I'm the person that could sit in the back of the classroom, read you the whole board, you know, jokester for the most part. And so I'm like, one day I just like really couldn't see. It must have been junior year. I'm like, I cannot see what's on the board. And, you know, I squinted and I'm like, oh, I guess I need to start wearing my glasses. I did read them. I use them for reading like every now and then, but, or more so for distance, but I didn't depend on them at all. So I was like getting frustrated with myself. I'm like, why can't I see this? You know, like made jokes about it so that I can get closer to the board. And everybody was just like, oh, that's just Britt. She's just crazy. Like, you know, as far as like humor is concerned. And so I guess I finally went to my doctor and he does specialties as well. And he was like, oh, it looks like you have Stargardt. Well, and again, like he just saw my brother go through the same challenges. So for him, it was a little bit easier to pick it up now because he had more information. It wasn't as scary just because I've seen how productive my brother was. When he was first diagnosed, I would say we were all terrified because they were just like, oh, you have Stargardts. You probably have like 2 more years to see and you're going to be blind. And at the time he was 18 and he's like, I'm not even going to be 21. I can't see. He's thinking about life and kids and family. And he's like, so it was a little scary. And again, we're 5 years apart. So I had to have been like 13 when they told him that. And they said it so nonchalantly, like not my doctor, because he had to go to a specialist to find out about his condition. But once we transferred over to my new doctor, or our new doctor, who had so much more information, we just permanently switched to him. So he was so much more compassionate and understanding and helpful in what we can and can't do. So that made the process a little bit better versus somebody being like, oh, you'll be blind in 2 years and just I can sign you up with the CNI dog and the Commission of the Blind. Like they jumped from like this 18-year-old healthy boy or you know, just anybody like in that time frame to like tell them, oh, yeah, that's what's gonna happen to you. So like you might as well prepare now. Go ahead and learn Braille. And we were just like, what? So for me, I wasn't as nervous. I wasn't as scared. It had been 5 years and we learned so much in that time. Our family took the time out to really educate ourselves in Stargardts because we wanted to help him. But then now turning around, my mom's like, you both have it. You know, that definitely, same for her. She didn't go as crazy about it before, like the first time around. It was definitely something challenging, but to have one person go through it already, it definitely helps my process. So yeah, I mean, I guess I would have been very, very scared if I got the same news my brother did, but thankfully there was so much more education in place and technology in place to like help us get through the process. So that's where I was personally.
That's really cool that you had someone there like that went through it. And so then you guys are able to like support each other. And like, it's so cool that you guys are like in the home. It's amazing. Tiffany, what about you?
Well, mine's a little different. Like I said, it was 11 years ago, and I had always been wearing contacts since I was 15. So then when I was 22, I don't even know actually how long it had been affecting me, because I noticed that, like, yeah, I can see clearer, but I can't see clearly, if that makes sense. And I always went to America's Best to get more contacts. So, they'll click the little thing, they're like number 1 or number 2. And I always showed which one was clearer, but I never finally was like, I can't really see that either. So I said it one day, and they're like, well, stop sleeping in your contacts. Like, that was their solution. So I went like 2 weeks. And well, they said because I was sleeping in my contacts, I was damaging my eyes. So I had to go 2 weeks cold turkey, no contacts. I did it, went back, still couldn't see better. So then I was like, well, I'm gonna just go to a different doctor. So then I went to like a Walmart Vision Center, which is crazy because every time I've gotten like more insight, it's been from Walmart Vision Center. You go to people you think are gonna have all the answers, and like I found some of the coolest stuff at the Vision Center at Walmart. So anyway, I went there and they did like the regular test, the test to see if you're colorblind, the 3D test, and I just failed all of them. So she's like, something else going on. It's not just your contacts. So I'm gonna send you to a retina specialist. And I saw the retina specialist, and they're like, I don't know. We're gonna send you to this macula person at Emory. So they sent me to the macula person. And luckily, I was pregnant with my daughter, so I had Medicaid and I could do all this. But prior to that, I was just this young working girl with crappy insurance whenever I finally had it. So I never had the opportunity to go from specialist to specialist. So then I go to the macula specialist, and then that's when they were like, you have macular dystrophy, which is a form of macular degeneration, and you're gonna lose your vision. So at that time, they were like, oh, you're gonna be completely blind. Mm-hmm. And then years later, I went to get another opinion because I didn't think much of it. But if you'd have told me 11 years ago, if you'd have told me I'd see the way I see today, 11 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. So then time passed, I went somewhere else. I was like, let me get another opinion. And then they said I had the juvenile version of retinitis pigmentosa. So every time I studied up on something, it wasn't quite it yet. I think it was finally the third doctor that landed on Stargardts. And like much time had passed between each thing. And they all have the same thing in common, which is the degeneration part, the progressive part. Mm-hmm. And my husband has always worn glasses and contacts too. So it was funny. We were like, man, the rate we're going, like, we'll be lucky if our baby is born with eyes, because we were like, she's going to be so jacked up. But it's fine because it's genetically your mother and your father have to have it, the gene, in order for you to get it. So we haven't even done genetic testing for the kids because it's like, there's not really a point. So that's my story.
Wow. That's so interesting. I've always saw the Walmart Vision Centers, but I never went to one. And I don't know, it's just kind of one of those things you just walk past, but now you have me wanting to like check it out. I think I have one. No, seriously, because like it's so hard. Like when you said it best, like when you go to these like professionals, they're so like, I don't know, they're kind of short with you, but I just have a thing against like doctors, period. Like I don't trust doctors. I appreciate Stargardts because it's not like you can't point us out. I think I said in the beginning, but you can't point us out. But it is annoying when you have to like explain yourself, or like when you get just like ignorant questions like how many fingers do I have up, or like what can you see, like okay, like all right, like relax, like. But
it's hard. I think that I'm grateful, honestly, because if we didn't go through this scenario ourselves, we don't know what our mindset would be towards people who have vision impairments, our own self, that's super important, because I'm like, would I have even noticed the difference between somebody with Stargardts or with a real vision impairment, or that is completely, like, I just classify them all as one, but like there's so many different levels to it. And going through it myself has helped me educate, like even vocabulary, like how I use words or what I call one person versus another person. It's just like, it's incredible. But that also opens up, how do people that are deaf feel, or how people are, like there's so many other inabilities or abilities that are different from ours. And so how do they feel about that same topic that we're like, what does that look like? Like they could be saying the same thing, but people don't take that into consideration. So I'm like, I'm so thankful that I had to go through this process in life, because I'm like, I'm so much more appreciative and sensitive to like vocabulary and how I express myself to other people, because like, who knows, what I'm saying? Like if we didn't have this little bump in the road, which I would call, because it only made us all better. We're all great. We're doing well. We have our families and friends and our education. And so even with the changes, we're still able to grow, we can still live our life. And there's some people that can't. So it's like, help us, help everyone in the world, figure this out, like figure out how to be more vocal about any ability,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. And I specifically, like, I think like we just have superpowers because there's people who are doing less than us without their like any type of condition. Like There's people out there not striving for their dreams, not trying to figure out, all right, this isn't working for me. Like, let me try something else. There's a lot of people that's just like stuck. And, you know, you get your highs and lows in life, but I think it's really cool that we all like push through and we're here and we're sane and we're beautiful. Oh my God, speaking of that, like, how do y'all do makeup? Because like, doing makeup for me is like a challenge. So I don't even, at this point, I just do like eyeliner. I just got into lashes, so I'll like put lashes on, and I got clear glue this time so that if I stare it, it just dries away. And then like whatever lip gloss or lipstick. And so that's my makeup regimen. I don't get into like the blending and all the colors because I'm just like you know how they have like the cat eyes too? I've messed that up so many times.
Now they have the stencil though. If you really, really want to get into it, they have a stencil. We had somebody, so for Eyes Like Mine, so my nonprofit is partnered with Eyes Like Mine, and for the beauty pageant that we had, Miss Blind Diva, they had someone come and show the ladies how they can properly apply makeup. And a lot of the women are completely blind, but there were some that were vision impaired, and they still learned. I was amazed. I took like a small video. I think it's in my other phone, but like it was amazing. Like the ladies were really, really enjoying it because they're like, oh, how do we do this? And oh, I always mess up this. And the woman was also visually impaired, and she's like, well, you know, like this is the highlight. Like we're gonna highlight your cheeks, and they're like, okay, so where do we put it? And they're like, what part of this? What part of your face does like the sun hit when you go outside and you look up? And then everyone pointed to like their high cheekbones and like the brim of their nose. And she's like, that's exactly where you put your highlight. Like she had very awesome descriptions for the ladies that made them think out of the box. So I was like, I need to know this. Come on, get, you know, like I was like, I'm terrible some days. Like my fiance would be like, blend, babe, you gotta blend the end. Like you didn't blend. And he even got me like a smaller magnifier, like mirror, for when I'm doing my makeup. So he's like, there's a regular mirror, and then he has like he added like a little magnifier that I could take off and on. And he's like, oh, this might help, you know, once you start to do like blending over here. Like he knows how much I like to dress and go out. So I don't know. Other than that, I just do my best. So I do my best.
I don't really like those little magnifier mirrors. My husband has bought me like a ton of them, some with the lights on it, and it just doesn't work for my vision. Because it's making me see piece by piece, and I need to see my face as a whole. But like the way I do makeup is just like a hit or miss kind of style. It's a lot of guessing. But I've always done my makeup and I've always enjoyed it. So like I can do mine, but I couldn't do yours. You know what I'm saying? Because like I know like the shape of my face by this point. And like I'll just turn on my lights and I'll sit super close to the mirror and I'll turn on my music and then I just go for it.
Yes, dive in.
I love it. Okay, so it's the last question. I wasn't even like looking at my questions because it's really small and I'm just not trying to be like in and out the camera. But I think I hit like most of them. Like I think we talked about most. Ooh, okay, what was your high and low of 2020? And so for me, okay, 2020 was the year where I just got like fed up, and I think 2019 I got laid off from my job, and then 2020 came around and we weren't even like, it was like what, around February the buzz about lockdowns, you know, started happening, and then March it was just like, we all know the story. So I saw a lot of people getting fired. I saw a lot of people just like, my parents always was just like, oh, get a job, go to school, get good grades, get a job with a pension. I was looking into being a teacher, and then my last job that I was working with, it was I was a manager of an after school program, and there's different sites. It was an interesting experience, and it made me stronger because there's a lot of reading. It's a lot of like little things that you have to pay attention to and see. And I did my best, you know, everything got done on time. But anyway, so that just led me, like 2020 just put into perspective for me that nobody is going to make me happy. Nobody's going to make me fulfilled. It's not going to be a job if I'm not doing something that I just love to do. I'm wasting my sight. That's how I saw it. And I was just like, okay, what is it that I want to do? What makes me happy? And so I got certified to be a life coach, and I've just been working with people and just being able to help somebody think differently and then in turn like get different results has been like just such a blessing for me. And it's not out to the world. I mean, Britt and we did this video maybe like a year or two ago, and I posted that, but I didn't do anything with that. Just like I didn't have that many subscribers. It was just like, I want to post this because this is just how I feel. But I don't talk about my eyes. I don't talk about my issues. Like I kind of just keep it moving. And so to be able to, I don't know, just to be able to help other people not have to go through, even if it's not going to be the same situation, but the emotions of it, stress is stress, sadness is sadness, depression is depression, no matter what the reason. If I can help somebody not feel how I felt, especially, I get it, because like 2020 was scary and it was like doom and gloom. And you know what? It's very interesting now that I'm talking to you guys. It's like, I think I felt like how the world felt in 2020. That's how I felt when I got diagnosed. And I think it was cool that I was able to just like ride 2020 out without freaking out, and then helping other people to like gain their peace. I think that was like so cool. And my low for 2020, I didn't really have a low. I mean, okay, it was scary. People were passing away. I did lose some people. I lost friends, and it's crazy. I didn't lose anybody to COVID until this year, but all 2020, my family were all good. My friends did not die from COVID. They died from gun violence, which was like that was just the low. I think that was my low. So what about you?
I'm trying to think. 2020. There's so many things you could say about 2020. Highs of it was, I mean, I had my blind talent search and blind talent show, which was awesome. And so we started the year out with contestants, and we started with our in-person rehearsals and auditions. And obviously with COVID, we had to switch it up. So I'm like, that's why I got really acquainted with Zoom as well, other than just work. Because Zoom is very, very accessible to a lot of people that have vision impairments. So we were able to still communicate and meet on a regular, and everyone was able to rehearse, and we still did our auditions. So just having, like, October is Vision Awareness Month. I'm not sure if you ladies know. And so just to be able to have like our showcase and have like our sponsors on, I think we had over 80 people on our call, which was really, really great. And we touched so many lives. And for the contestants, they were like, thank God you still did this, because we were able to have some fun during this pandemic, you know, and be a part of something that was uplifting for other people, whether it was like singing, we had dancing, we had people that played instruments. So it was like, that made me smile. That made me happy that I was able to, like you, Jade, help someone else, help other people that aren't not only suffering from job losses, because they were suffering just as much. They were just like, we're just home and bored. So I'm like, all right, guys, let's have rehearsal today. You know, let's pull together, let's do this today. You know, just let's hop on Zoom and like have a conversation, just to be able to talk. And people were going through their own scenarios, own, you know, difficulties with job loss. And just to hear that you're not the only person going through those things definitely helps. And it definitely reassures everyone in your community, whether we're talking about vision or not. Personally, just being able to create new life, I was really excited. I found out I was pregnant in November, and I purchased my first home in October. So I was like, oh my goodness, those extra rooms, this is where it's gonna go. I was like trying to think of like all these fun things I can do with these extra rooms and my sunroom. And I'm like, never mind, we got a playroom and we got a nursery coming. So that was pretty awesome as well. And then just some lows, you know, just losing people, friends, family, not being able to interact the way that we're so used to, but also with that being negative, it kind of brought us back to the basics of life, you know, like before we had all this technology, or before we had all this like access, you know, kind of just brought us back to like, stop getting fast food, go sit down somewhere, cook a meal, enjoy your family's company. It kind of like made home feel like home again. So, you know, even in the lowest parts, it felt like you were bonding more with your family, you were bonding more with like your circle, the people that mattered the most. Especially if you did lose someone, or, you know, you missed out on something. It's just like COVID kind of brought us together in even in the negative portions of it. So I would say that's my low, but it wasn't, you know, I always try to see the benefits in those lows as well. So just turn it around, make it, you know, when you got lemons, make lemonade. That's what they say. Yeah, try to find something positive in those low points, because there's always something to gain from it, always something to like benefit out of those low times. So
I agree, definitely. Tiffany, how about you? What were your high and lows of 2020?
Okay, you guys, it's gonna get a little dark, because I don't think everybody, personally speaking, can deal with the drastic changes of the visual impairment as positively, or can find, you know, the good things to come out of the bad as easily. And I was one of those people, because it felt like I lost all of my independence kind of all at once. 2020, I lost 2 jobs, one because of my Stargardts, and, you know, I chose to leave, but it was still a loss. And then one because of COVID. and I started school. So that's definitely a positive. It's a high, but it was also one of the hardest things I've ever had to do because, I graduated high school in 2004. I didn't go to college. And the next time I'm going to school, I have 2 children and a visual impairment. And I'm terrified. And I don't drive. And my husband works and he switched careers. So my schedule works around my family. And it was one of the most difficult things I've had to deal with. I stopped driving, which, I had a car since I was 15 and I had never had to depend on anyone. And then losing that, I've lost friends. I've lost an entire social life. I've lost this independence and I gained this huge feeling of being like stuck in a box. And then we quarantined and then I was literally stuck in that box. And then my kids had to go to virtual school and they're still in virtual school, and a visually impaired mom in virtual school is definitely hard. With a 6-year-old who had never even opened a laptop before, and for me to not be able to see it, and I'm communicating with administrators and teachers so they all know, Jordan and Austin's mom is visually impaired, so make sure this, make sure that. And then I did get the training, like I said, on the computers and stuff, but like I've never been tech savvy, so I could have 2020 and still would never touch Zoom. I'm just like, I need some face-to-face. I'm not good with computers. I'm not good with technology. The guy who trained me was blind. Or the guy who did my assessment was blind. He's like, in this day and age, computer jobs are great for us because there's all these programs and all these ways you can do this and that, and you don't have to see. And I went home and cried. I was like, if I have to work at a computer, I will die. Like, that's not me. So finding this career out of it all was the most positive thing. But 2020 was super hard, and it hasn't gotten easier yet. And I'm still climbing out of it despite Stargardts.
Yep.
That's
I
amazing.
get that.
I wouldn't say so. I'm happier now. But again, like I've definitely like stopped progressing per se, according to everyone else. Even though I feel like I still feel like some things are different for me when I see. But it took time for me to get where happy place. Like, oh, okay, let's figure this out. I don't want you to think like everything's gonna be like find the happy out of it, because it's hard. It definitely is a mindset. It definitely is just going through the challenges and facing them head on. Like nothing is easy about losing or trying to maintain what you have. Like independence is so important, especially for women. We want to do so much, and we have kids. So like that's for me, my next biggest obstacle is going to be like, I'm listening to you and you're like, I have 2 kids. And I'm like, that's amazing. Cause I'm like worried about the little things that I could miss on my son or daughter. Like I don't want to have those fears, but they're there. I'm just like thankful that I have my fiance has 20/20 vision. So when I tell him I can't see something, he's like, well, babe, you can see this and that. And I'm like, I know, but it's still a process for him to like understand what I can and can't do, what I can't see. Like it's like a constant conversation, and we've known each other for years. But just him getting used to like this different dynamic of like my vision when it pertains to like reading stuff. Like he'll show me his Instagram and I'm like, hold on, slower. Like I missed it, like I completely missed it, or whatever, a text. And I'm just like, those things are stuff that he hasn't had to deal with in a relationship, and he's being more sensitive to. But just again, I'm always like, people around you, like the people around me are so supportive and helpful. That makes a world of difference. Like when you can rely on not just yourself but other people, and the independence portion will come. Definitely will take time. So, and I've met so many people, like my friend Crystal, she's she's blind. She can only see like partly black and white and grays pigments, and so some of her text she can't read, and so she has things that read to her, but she's amazing. Like she has opened my eyes 100%. When we first met, she was at her lowest point as a person, and she's just like, all right, we're gonna do this together. So she started her own foundation, I started my foundation, and we kind of just grew some support systems, like with questions and people that can relate and just help all around. So it took a while to get that like woo go crazy positivity, but it does definitely help. It does make a difference, because like again, I wasn't always like, oh, this is great, Stargardt, like never. Trust me. But again, like me having a brother that went through it made it easier. I actually have a cousin in Savannah, Georgia. She just found out she has Stargardts as well, and so that has been a crazy process. And she's younger, I believe she just turned 10. So she's even younger than me and my brother were when we found out, and she's taking it very hard. I open myself up to her to like ask questions, whatever you need to know, whatever you feel like you need to ask. Because like, I feel like at least me and him got to do more. We already had our license, we were already like out and about. And so, 10 is hard to say, and now I can't see this and that and have to cope with these different changes. So, it's never going to be easy at any time frame in your life, but, it's how we kind of like deal with it to grow. It makes a difference. And again, just having great support around you, and your husband, and I'm sure your kids are always helping. So I want you to just stay positive.
Yeah, that'll be the benefit. Like the kids, they understand as they get older what I'm going through, so they help out a lot. And I used to read, a book every night before bed. And then once my daughter was old enough to read, she would read it. And then she started reading it to my son for me. And then now he can read. Now he reads the book at night. So I have ways to get around all of the stuff. But like some days you just wish that there wasn't the stuff to begin with. And that's something I'm still, and I encourage, like, if you have issues, you know, talk to somebody or get help. Like, everything doesn't have to be okay all the time, as long as you're willing to work and make it okay. Because I did go to therapy for a while. I just have to find a better lady. This was like 2 years ago, whatever. But and she was like, you know, you're mourning a loss of something with the driving, because it was getting worse before I just, you know, stopped doing it. And she's like, it's something you've been doing for so long. It's okay to mourn it as a loss, because it was really important to you, and it was, and it still is. My husband's a firefighter, so if he's gone on a 24-hour shift and I have an emergency, like my baby he started throwing up one night. I said my baby, he's 6, he's my baby. And I was like, what? Like, I can't just run to Kroger and get the Pepto and the ibuprofen, whatever. And those moments, like, you'll have this huge, like, oh, I remember when I could just get up and go and do this myself and handle. And now you need a support system, and if they're not always there, you'll have those moments of just like, oh, I just don't want to do this anymore. This is so annoying, and that's okay, as long as you're willing to work and keep trying and find ways and get support if you need it.
I'm so Uber central too now. I'm like, you know, let me just Uber this. I was like, go back out to the store or get somebody to pick it up. Because like even now Uber has like groceries and you could, it's so much. They like expanded so much. I'm like, oh, I don't have to go out. I don't have to go back out, you know, anything to help, especially like, yeah.
But definitely, like, it's definitely not easy, and it's not easy to like look at the brighter side. I have days where if I miss something or I'm reading and I'm getting frustrated, like, it just will take me out. And I have to, you know, you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to just put stuff into perspective. I think when I start kind of like comparing up, like, okay, like, yeah, I can't see, but I don't have cancer and I can still walk. I have my 10 fingers and 10 toes. You know, like, I have 2 eyes. I'm not missing one.
Right, they're both there.
Yeah, like, they're little, you know, they're broken, but you know, like, they're still there.
Broken, yeah.
So I think that, like, the gratitude really, really helps me. And I think I saw the most, because, yeah, honestly, I think that when I got my coach this year, my life coach, that's when I really was able to just catch, because sometimes I would have days where I would just be just like depressed. Like, I remember one time I was out at a art gallery with my friend, and there was a big painting there, but like there was words in blue over like blue. So like it was different shades of blue, but it just looked blue to me. And she's like, did you see that? She's like, look what that says. And then I'm like, I can't see it. She's like, how you can't see that? Are you blind? And I'm just like, literally that, like, she didn't mean it. She didn't know. But just that aspect where it's like, yeah, like the question yes to that is, I don't know. It was just like, it took me out, and I was pretty upset for maybe like a day or two. Because then you start thinking like, oh my gosh, I hate those spiral days where you have like one thought and it just spirals into all these crazy thoughts. But then, like, I think that when I got coaching, I was given tools to like reframe my mind and reframe like the story that I'm telling myself. I think that now more than ever, I can just like pat myself on the back and be like, yeah, like, okay, I started my business. I still read books. I'm still looking at knowledge, and I have an eye disease. And you guys are, when I say you guys, but there are people out there, full mind, full body. You can do all these things without the extra assistance or without the extra bump in the road, and you're just not doing it. And so to be able to still be here, still be strong, still have goals, like still be able to be a good friend, I look at that now more than what I can't do. And I think the sooner that I'm able to like catch those thoughts, those spiral thoughts, sometimes I feel crazy because like I'll be like super depressed, and then within the hour I'm just cracking up laughing. Like, I just learned how to reframe everything. So it's not easy. Like, I guess I'm getting my brain used to looking at things positively. So people will get annoyed with me now because like I can always find like the positive spin on stuff. And you know how when you're in a bad mood and somebody's like, well, look at it this way, you're like, shut up. And
no, you're like, no.
So I get it. I have more than my fair share of days, but it's just about being able to just move forward and just, you know, keep going, because we have things to keep going for. Oh my gosh, and you guys have children, and you guys give me so much life. Like, when I saw your pregnancy announcement, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then Tiffany, when you were married, well, you are married, I said when you were married, when I saw like your family life, I was like, it just gave me that knowledge, like, because okay, I'll be honest, like when I first got diagnosed, I'm like, okay, now I have to get married, now I have to have kids now, because like, who would want to marry somebody that has eye issues. Like, how am I going to be able to take care of my kids? And then I see both of you guys just out here doing it, and it's just like, you know,
there's worse things in the world, girl. There's definitely worse things.
agreed. But I like literally sincerely just appreciate connecting with you guys. You guys are beautiful, mind, face, body, spirit. Like, you guys are just like, I can't even express my gratitude enough. And I really appreciate you guys. Oh, if you want, would you guys be down to be in a group chat? Because we all have iPhones, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna put that together. I'm gonna do it. But I really appreciate you guys. I am so grateful for your time, and I won't take any more of it. But I think we should definitely have another conversation, because I definitely want more insight into motherhood and family life and like how you manage. And I just have more questions, but I appreciate you guys.
I would tell my brother too. He's married. He has his daughter, and he's like, I'm telling you,
he's adding too.
He's hilarious. Like, he's a jokester. Sorry in advance, but he's definitely like a light, because I'm like, how do you do these? Like, he's amazing. I'm like, I still don't understand how he does some of the things he does, but he's like, again, I told you, his vision is way more progressed than mine. But he's like still doing it. He's still out here. He's still just like living his life. His kids love it. His quirkiness. He's like, you know, he's not ashamed to let them know what's happening with him. So he's like, he's an open book, you know.
Yeah, he should join, because I've never met a guy with it before.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We can plan part 2, and I can definitely hit you guys up about that. And it could be, I don't know, we'll coordinate schedules. We don't have to like set the date right now, but we're gonna have to chat. So we will be talking, and my line is open. Like, if you guys are ever having a bad day, like a bad Stargardt day, like thing that you wanted to say before I end it, I'll just want to like click it off. You guys have anything you want to promote? Like, Britt, your nonprofit, and then Tiffany, your what do you are you an independent massage therapist?
No, I'm currently at a spa, but the goal is to go independent. But I wanted to, you know, I'm the rookie. I'm only 3 months into the industry, so I wanted to gain some insight and then eventually get my own suite, or you know, my own little office. I'm manifesting now. I'm buying little things here and there, and I'm like, this is one of my office. But I do mobile massage, as long as we don't have a non-compete clause. So as long as I'm not poaching clients, I do take clients outside of the spa. But right now, that's my bread and butter until I'm ready to, you know, fly off on my own.
Sounds
good. I wish you were closer. I would get my little prenatal massage.
Oh my gosh, I would love it, and you would love it too.
I'm so excited I can do that. I was just like, oh, as soon as you said it, I was like, really?
Yes, you're gonna love it, and I'm telling you, you can do it all the way up to delivery. You can. There was a lady the other day. She was like 42 weeks, and that baby was just being so stubborn. So she came in for an invigorating massage to help her give birth. So I mean, to go into labor. So like, there's a lot more therapies out there that people don't know about, and I'm into fitness. I know JDC, I post a lot of fitness stuff. And then my husband's currently certified as a personal trainer, but doesn't train. He took the class on my behalf to visually tell me how I was going to be able to do it.
Wow,
so he went and did it. And so I'm like, I said after I finished school and kind of got, into my industry, which put me behind a little because of COVID, because I need to catch up on debt and blah, blah, blah. So, but I'm still planning on getting certified as a personal trainer. And I do want to do fitness and restoration, and I want to find this happy place in between. And I want it to be like gym moms. I don't know if y'all scroll through the fitness stuff on Instagram, but it can get really unrealistic and intimidating. And I started posting because it's like, this is realistically what I'm doing as a mom, and these are my resources, and I feel great, and I love my body, and I've fluctuated, especially with the pandemic, but I keep going. And as long as I can inspire one person, I did my job. Now I'm trying to integrate the restoration part, because there's so many benefits of massage, even mentally, that people aren't knowing about, because they think it's just this luxury frou-frou spa day, and it's not. And then I'm gonna find that, and I'm gonna shove them together, and then I'll have my niche right there.
That's gonna be perfect. You're gonna get so many people, because there's so many moms that are always just like, we need this program, or we want this, like always looking for a realistic nutrition or a realistic, like, I don't know, activity together. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, some people are just like, yeah, let's do this, and they're already built and fit. And you're just like, huh. Well, how do I get there? I'm just like, oh, that's so wonderful. But no, I don't have anything. I mean, eventually we're going to be, so my nonprofit is the Greater Vision Foundation. We built it when my brother got Stargardts, and then when we both had it, it was like more than a collab. So we've been at it for like 2008, something like that, 2008, 2007, and just expanding and just growing with other nonprofits, other visually impaired or blind organizations. And we try to do events like once or twice out of the year. So we're going to start getting ready for Blind Talent 2021. So we haven't done auditions or anything like that. So it could be any type of vision. It doesn't have to just be Stargardts, but just a talent. And I told everyone last year. I'm like, it could be a talent that you may not think is a talent, but because we have this ability, like we have a different ability than others, it's a talent in our eyes. So we don't discriminate on what the talent is. I don't want it to be the typical singing, dancing, but if you're an artist, if you're a poet, we opened it up to so many other types of talents so that people didn't feel like they were in a box. Because, you know, because I am partially sighted, I don't want to say, oh, it can only be this, you know, because there's things that I can do that somebody that isn't sighted can. So I wanted to make sure that people who weren't sighted weren't being excluded from the talent portion. So if you know anyone, and obviously we'll probably have more details in a couple of months, because we'll start doing like the online auditions towards May and June. But yeah, that'll be later in the year. The show won't be until October, and hopefully we'll be in person, but if not, we'll still do like the whole Zoom. It was really awesome on the Zoom platform, and again, everyone was able to get on. It was accessible, so it ended up being a really, really great turnout for it to be our first year doing like a whole talent show online. So
oh, okay. So I'm gonna get the links from both of you guys, so I like put it in the description accurately. But once again, like I'm just so grateful for your time, and we are definitely gonna talk again. We're definitely gonna have part 2. So thank you both, and I will talk to you soon.
All right.
Good night, ladies.